If you want great interior mods for your ride but don't feel like spending unpleasant amounts of money, you've got plenty of options, especially if you can do DIY work without taking on more than you can handle. So here are 9 of the best simple DIY mods to improve your car's interior and overall feel. Let's get into it. For all mods here that require certain tools or materials, I'll have the highest rated Amazon links with good prices in the description so you don't get stuck with some cheap, crappy knockoff or something way more expensive than it needs to be. Also, let me know if I missed any good ones here and what you think the best interior mod is, and physically abusing the like button is always very cool if you enjoy. Without further ado, number 1 is what I think is the most useful one here, even though it's very low key and it's adding sound deadening. I know you're probably thinking this would be boring and too much of a hassle for no payoff, but really, wouldn't it be way more comfortable cruising on the highway or anywhere if there was less road and wind noise, so instead you can just ruin your hearing to your loud exhaust? Correct! And especially with older fun cars, it could really improve the daily drivability and make the car more comfortable to be in overall. You can also go as crazy with this as you want, but the main areas to do would be the doors, under the floor carpeting, and in the trunk. Second here is adding a touchscreen, which is probably the second most popular DIY mod people bring up. If you've seen a lot of my other videos, you know I don't like all the big, pointless, overdone touchscreens that they're putting in all cars these days. But if your interior is really bland and feels as bare bones as eating toast with nothing on it, having a respectably sized touchscreen can be a good touch. And no pun intended. I think having one that still comes with small buttons is nice, so you don't have to stare at a screen every time you want to change the volume or song, and the most popular options seem to be Apple CarPlay based. Also, make sure you get one that can dim or go into sleep mode easily, because I bought a car when I was younger with a cheaper aftermarket screen, and before I figured out how I could easily put it into sleep mode, it was really annoying driving with it on at night. The main benefit I see to adding a touchscreen by far, though, is the ability to add a backup camera with a clean looking display inside, whereas otherwise you need to add an extra standalone screen. Next up is a pretty smart idea I found recently that I haven't thought of before besides for exhausts, and it's replacing your boring, broke person interior parts with higher trim versions from part outs. This could go for any car part like exterior or mechanical stuff too, but if you can find part out cars from junkyards or people on Facebook, this is an easy way to get higher quality direct replacements for not a ton of money or work. I even might just do this with every car I get from now on. I mean, I could easily find a bare bones 2013 Mustang V6, then gradually turn it into a GT500 Super Snake with cheap donor parts and pay less for insurance because they'll have no idea. Easy peasy.
He's too dangerous to be left alive.
And speaking of easy peasy, next is probably the simplest one here, and it's lighting effects. This one can be a lot of different things. It can be as simple as changing cabin lights, which is very popular, but so simple that people probably wouldn't call it a mod. Or it can be as complicated as installing headliner star LEDs like the ones they have in Rolls Royces. Other ideas are adding doorknob lights, eel wire, which is a little more janky but really cheap and can look cool if you take your time, underseat lights, or footwell lighting. And again, you can take this one as far as you want. So if you're worried about it looking cheesy, just update the cabin lights and maybe stick to dim white lighting in the footwells linked to the cabin lights so they only turn on when you open the door. Or, if you want to go crazy with it, add multicolored LEDs that react to music in the footwells or under the seats, maybe some in the door handles, and toss in some eel wire so you can have a rager at any time with your friends, or you can always set the mood for that special someone. Number 5 is unfortunately only for the three-pedal drivers out there. It's a short throw shifter, and this is another one that won't be super interesting or stand out to anyone else, but every time you row through the gears afterwards, it'll feel like you're shaking hands with God. This also shouldn't be a crazy time-consuming project, but it'll let you get your hands dirty, it'll make a huge difference relative to the cost and make driving that much more enjoyable, and you never know when a project will end up taking an extra 6 hours anyway. Now for one that really can be a full project, it's re-leathering or just resurfacing interior parts. This is mainly a great idea for any touch points like the steering wheel, door handles, center console area, handbrake, shifter, or shift boot. This one can be done with any material, but the most common stuff I see lately is rewrapping steering wheels in leather or Alcantara, so if you need to do some research, that could be a great place to start. Reupholstering seats is also a huge one, especially if yours are worn out, because there's nothing worse than having to see a big tear in your seat every day, like The main downside to using Alcantara or suede on something like a steering wheel though is that they get pretty gross from all the sweat and oils from your hand. So leather could be the best for those major touch points, with small Alcantara or suede touches here and there to spice things up a bit more. Next up is upgrading your sound system. I'll be brutally honest, I haven't done this before, so I don't really know enough to confidently give a how-to or give specific brand or equipment recommendations. But this probably has the longest track record and the most online information that's easy to find. It can be nice to upgrade your sound system until you become one of those guys blasting music so loud with your windows open that everyone else knows it's really just destroying your eardrums. But this one really shines when you have any speakers or parts that don't function 100%. Maybe they sound fuzzy or can't handle the amount of bass in your music, or just don't work at all. Second to last for today is kinda sorta similar to the resurfacing one, but this one is for carbon fibering parts. And yes, I know you might be one of those people who hates carbon fiber at this point, but having little touches here and there can add some nice depth. If you want to go the cheapest route, you can buy carbon fiber vinyl film to put over any trim pieces you want, but if you want to go halfway between the cheapest cosmetics and getting a full carbon fibered part, you can always buy carbon fiber fabric and resin and skin the parts you want. This way you get the genuine look without having to pay a ton of money for a structural carbon fiber part, or without having to make a full mold and actually manufacture the part yourself. If you do plan to do an expensive or harder to find part though, it might be a good idea to do some test pieces first, and make sure with anything you get UV resistant resin, because I think I've read that otherwise it can start yellowing from getting hit with too much sun. And you could always do some chopped carbon fiber too, which I think I definitely like more than the regular carbon fiber, especially with very subtle hints of color. And if you still say you hate all carbon fiber and it shouldn't ever be used anywhere for looks, to that I say,
only a Sith deals in absolutes.
And as the final DIY interior car mod, it's ceramic window tinting, which is probably another top mod for a lot of people. This can help with privacy, but also with sun or headlight glare, and as long as it's ceramic, reducing heat in the car from the sun, even if it's not very dark tint. It's also not that expensive, fairly easy to do once you get the hang of it. If you ever want to get rid of it, you can just peel it off, and it can get you pulled over in certain states. Oh, wait, that's not a good thing. But yeah, just make sure you check your state's laws so you know ahead of time. Even though we both know if you do get pulled over for it, you'll still just be like,
how'd that get in there?
Let me know in the comments which of these mods you think is best, or if I missed any good ones. Again, I put the highest rated but decently priced Amazon links in the description, and I've got other interior mod videos if you want more ideas. As always, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.